This video will be about the Christian art that interests me, and we will be speaking about the catacombs. The first Christian art was in catacombs, which are underground hallways and small rooms where both Christians and pagans were buried. Although Christians rejected cremation, most burials were in surface cemeteries, since underground burial was only possible where soft rock existed in Rome, Naples, Syracuse. The early Christians were not allowed to be buried inside the city walls, so they had to bury them outside. So they started to build them their cemeteries underground in the catacombs. Of the 550 miles of catacombs in Rome, few walls were painted. Pagan artists may actually have painted all the murals, since the style is similar, whether depicting Christian or non-Christian themes. Still, the existing paintings are important because they tell us what themes were important to early Christians. Although the catacomb paintings are difficult to date with any certainty, the earliest examples are thought to be from the 3rd century. In general, the paintings are more important for their meaning than for their artistic merit. This is an early representation of Christ and the apostles. This part of the catacomb is representing Jesus and his 12 apostles. With this fresco, the Chi-Rho symbol is part of the catacombs of Domitilla, Rome. This art here is the Good Shepherd. This is the image of the Good Shepherd, which reoccurs in catacomb paintings. It relates to one of the most important themes in these paintings, the theme of deliverance. If you recall Psalm 23, in which the shepherd leads the sheep through the valley of the shadow of death, or perhaps you read in the parable of Luke, chapter 15, verses 4 through 6, in which the shepherd finds the lost sheep and rejoicing, lays it on his shoulder. Or the allegorical theme of the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verses 1 through 18, in which Christ, as the Good Shepherd, gives his life for his sheep, and we are the sheep. In early Christian art, the shepherd is usually youthful, carrying a sheep on his shoulders, which was a common way of carrying wounded sheep. Later, after the 4th century, the shepherd sometimes has the feature of Peter, since Peter was charged by Jesus to feed my sheep. Saint Peter is the vicar of Christ, who right now, currently in the Catholic Church, is Pope Francis. This image for Jesus died out in the medieval period as people increasingly associated Jesus with the ruler and judge of the Last Judgment. Like many images in early Christian art, the rendering of this motif owes something to pagan art. Hermes or Mercury had already been depicted classical art as guardians of the flock. This part of the catacomb depicts the bleeding woman. This is Christ healing a bleeding woman, as depicted in the catacombs of Marcellinus and Peter. Here it depicts the woman who had been the subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors. She had spent a lot of her money, and she wasn't getting any better. She grew worse. She heard about Jesus, came upon him in the crowd, and touched the cloak, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. If any of you are familiar with The Chosen TV series, they have a very, very, very good scene depicting this part of the gospel. So the catacombs in Rome, there's many different catacombs, which is a great place for Christians to do a pilgrimage there to see where the early church began and where a lot of the Christians and a lot of the martyrs of Christianity were buried, and hoping that one day, God willing, I'll be able to go and visit these catacombs. Thank you.